Hi everyone, this is going to be a quick video on how to build a stable foundation for your putting stroke. Specifically, we're going to talk about how to use your body to build this foundation. And what you need to understand is that we use our body, different parts of our body in different ways at the same time during the putting stroke. If you understand how we do that correctly, it's going to dramatically increase your ability to improve your putting skills. So to begin with, we use our upper body differently than how we use our lower body during the putting stroke. Seems fairly straightforward. Our lower body, we want to have a very stable base that doesn't really move. We often talk about feeling like you're stuck in concrete up to your waist. You don't want your hips to slide. You don't want your hips to turn while you're doing your putting stroke. These are all common mistakes with beginning golfers. So while your lower body is staying stable, our upper body is moving. So that's the first disassociation between two body parts. Our upper body can be moving all different ways, but you want your lower body to remain stable. And that means your hips are staying stable as well as your legs and knees. Okay? The second pair of body parts that are doing different things at the same time are your upper body is doing something different than your head and your neck. And again, in this instance, our head and our neck are staying stable while our upper body is turning. It's going to move a little bit, just like your hips may move just a small amount, especially if you get a bigger, that's bad as a slide, but a bigger stroke, 50, 60 foot putts. But essentially your head and neck wants to stay quiet or stable while we're turning our upper body. If you get those two concepts, no matter what your putting stroke mechanics are, you're going to be able to repeat them fairly well. So those two are really important. So from a down the line standpoint, my lower body's stable while my upper body moves. And similarly, my upper body moves and my head and my neck stay stable. So what we don't want is we don't want our head and neck moving with our body. Okay? So we get those two down, and we're going to have a really stable and consistent and repeatable putting stroke, almost regardless of what we do with the mechanics of our stroke. We could use wrists, we could use arms and shoulders, which both are not necessarily optimal, but because you have a stable base and because your head and neck are staying stable, you're going to be able to repeat it improperly, but repeat it more consistently. Lastly, what we want is we want our hands, wrists, and forearms to remain stable while our shoulders and torso are moving. So in this instance, a great drill that I just learned is something called a chopstick drill. We're going to take our alignment sticks. What we're going to do is we're going to take the alignment sticks and stick them under our armpits. Take your hands and put them palm down and put the alignment sticks through your thumbs. Then you're going to point your palms facing each other and bring your hands together down the alignment stick. So what you have is sort of this V-shaped structure. And when I get down into my golf posture, it's going to very much resemble how my arms are going to hang. Some of you may have arms hanging super extended and almost straight. Others may have a little bit more bend in your elbows. But you're going to have a symmetrical triangle formed. And in this instance, now what we can do is we can rock our shoulders like this. My head is staying quiet, My hips are staying quiet. My arms, hands, and wrists are staying quiet while my torso and shoulders move. What we're trying to prevent with this drill is we don't want our hands flipping back and forth, adding pop like this. Super hard to control distance with that type of a movement. We also don't want our forearms rotating while we're doing a putting stroke. Super hard to control direction. What we want is them facing each other symmetrically. Wrists, hands, and arms are going to stay stable while our torso does the movement. So we're going to use our big muscles, which are a lot more repeatable from a day-to-day, even from a green to green or stroke to stroke basis, than it is using smaller muscles to putt with. So if you can understand these three principles of how to use your body and practice them, you're going to have a fairly sound foundation to build proper putting mechanics. And then when we put them into practice, you can have a narrow stance, a wide stance, it really doesn't matter. We're going to have a stable lower body, a quiet head and neck, and my arms, wrists, and hands are going to remain quiet while I just use my torso to make the stroke. So I hope that is helpful for you. If you just work on that alone, you're going to create a really good foundation for us to fine-tune the putting stroke mechanics on both your long, short, uphill, downhill putts. Hope this is helpful.